What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about SVR booster boxes and just talk about the market and how it's not predictable in the sense that we can tell what's going to happen at all times. But if we look at general trends, if we look at sales data, if we look at sell-through rate, you can kind of make assumptions with a fairly decently high rate of accuracy about what is going to happen in the market. And I've been talking about the SV era is probably going to be trading sideways. I mean, maybe going up a little bit over the next couple months here. I think it's going to be a boring period for you guys if you own a lot of SVR booster boxes. You don't own Sword and Shield because we all know Sword and Shield right now is popping off. And Wednesday we'll be taking a look at that, another update. But for Scarlet and Violet, there are a couple sets that are still moving at this point that I think are worth just pointing out to you guys. And we'll start with the first four, SV01 to SV04. So we have base set here up to $218.57, so almost 220 bucks. You guys know, if you've been watching the videos, compared to all the other SVR booster boxes, in terms of supply below like a 20% leg up, SV base and then Stellar Crown, they're fairly similar in terms of the amount of boxes. So these are sets that don't have too much inventory, and the sell-through rate's actually been decent on SV base. I think it's like somewhere between 2.8 and 3 boxes per day normally. Buy it now North America. So it's doing all right. I don't think it's going to jump to like 240, 250 anytime soon, but slow and steady. SV base is moving up. Same thing with Paldea Evolved. Unfortunately, over the past like month or so, a lot of larger stores have put boxes on eBay. There's a lot more supply out there. People are taking profits. Hobbiesville is the main one that they actually have 100 boxes, I believe, currently listed on eBay. And I think that's like the maximum threshold that they put in there. So they might actually be planning to move more than 100 boxes. It's just that like I can only see that they have 100 boxes, if that makes sense. But Paldea Evolved, I mean, long term, I think you're going to be fine with this. Also, I think people at this point have a fairly large amount of confidence in the set, especially with the Magikarp, the gem rate of the PSA 10 is very, very low. So these boxes in the future, they're going to have value. I wouldn't worry about it too much. You guys know I took some profits on Paldea Evolved. I think there's going to be better places to put my money over the next like couple years. But if you have some of these boxes and you're holding them, I think you're fine. Obsidian Flames, I talked about this a couple weeks ago just because it actually had a decent sell-through rate. Last week, it took a little bit of a step back. This week, it's taken another little step forward, now up to $249 on TCG Player. On eBay, it's kind of in line with that. Most sales are probably a little bit lower than $249 though. And considering now we're already in the middle of August, I'm not sure if a set like Obsidian Flames is going to be able to get to $300 by the end of the year. I did float that maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago, but at this point, just based on what I'm seeing, it's unlikely. Now, could it get to something like 270, 275? Yeah, I think that's still possible. Maybe not over the next month or two, but towards the end of November, maybe into December, sure. I definitely think that's a possibility. Paradox Rift, out of the first four sets in the SVR right now, this is the one I'm actually keeping my eye on over the next couple weeks, just because the sell-through rate has been going up on this box, and just in terms of like days of remaining inventory, it's been coming down slowly and steadily. And I think just because Paradox Rift, I'm pretty sure, is the cheapest box out of all of these SVR sets now at $212, $213. People are probably going to start turning to it, especially if you're comparing Paradox to like Temporal Forces, to Stellar Crown, to SV Base. A lot of these sets, they're fairly similar, so why pay an extra $20, $30 per box on some of those sets when you can just get Paradox Rift for around $200, $210? So I think that's kind of the mindset a lot of people in this hobby have right now when it comes to Paradox, and I think it just needs a little bit more time. Same thing with Temporal Forces. I mean, this box, when I compare it to something like Obsidian Flames, that's now almost $250, when I compare it to Stellar Crown, which is about the same price, even Journey Together around $220, I think I'd rather have Temporal Forces. It's an older set than most of those, and when you compare it to Obsidian Flames specifically, I mean, the fact that you can buy this box cheaper than Obsidian, it kind of seems like a no-brainer to me at this point. I know Obsidian Flames, Charizard, all that, I just still can't get over just how large of a difference in terms of price when we look at the top like 3 to 5, even 10 chase cards in those two sets. I mean, I imagine Temporal Forces is going to eventually close the gap. That's just my prediction. Twilight Masquerade, this is also kind of an interesting one to bring up right now. We're seeing about $271, $272 on TCG Player. This box, there's actually less supply out there than a couple weeks ago. Some sellers that had a lot of boxes up have either sold out or they've pulled boxes off of eBay. I imagine it's the latter just because the sell-through rate isn't crazy on these to make up for the difference in boxes. So keep an eye on this. I think that Twilight could potentially reach $300 by the end of the year. It'll be up there with Paldea, Destined Rivals, maybe another set or two, but yeah, Twilight Masquerade on the secondary market on eBay, it's really hard to find this box under $270 now. But with that said, would I buy Twilight at $270 when I could buy Destined Rivals at $300? I honestly don't know. Like, I mean, Twilight's what, over a year older than Destined Rivals. So when we think about print cycles and how much more Twilight we're going to get compared to Destined Rivals, it really is kind of a toss-up at that point. I think Destined Rivals is the better set long term. It's probably going to perform better, but over the next 24 months, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. You guys can let me know in the comments down below what you think. As always, Stellar Crown, I kind of already touched on this. Slowly moving up, we're now up to $228 approximately on TCG Player. This kind of makes sense to me. Stellar Crown's not the best set, but when we look at the amount of boxes out there compared to some of these other ones like Temporal, like Paradox, there just isn't as much Stellar, so it makes sense why it is continuing to move up, even though the sell-through rate isn't that great. Surging Sparks, I mean, this set for the past, 6 months has just been kind of just doing nothing interesting. We're getting more reprints of it. I think it's only a matter of time before this box starts to run again. There's less supply out there this week than last week by a decent amount, but there are still a lot of boxes out there. So I'm not saying like next week or within the next month it's going to jump back up to like 250, 260. I'm not saying that at all, but we also need to remember that Surging's getting fairly close to a year of age at this point. It's not like it's a brand new set. People kind of look at Prismatic the same way I feel too. Everyone kind of thinks it's like a brand new set, but we're already like a quarter of the way through its theoretical print cycle, maybe a little bit less for a set like that. But as we get deeper into 2025, Surging, Prismatic, Stellar Crown, Twilight Masquerade, these sets will become more relevant when we look at them as investments and when we think about potential reprints coming. Now, Journey Together, just to close out this video fast, we'll talk about this in Destined Rivals. Surprisingly, this box is continuing to move up. The enhanced version is sitting around $221, $222 at this point. The unenhanced version, which I don't actually track sales of the unenhanced version on eBay and in the spreadsheet, but on TCG Player, these are up to almost $260 per box. So again, like many people said a few months ago when the set came out, because there's two different versions, one with a box top or one without, it's probably a decent idea to get a little bit of exposure to each one, just in case we don't get reprints of one of the certain boxes. And you can see here with Journey Together, the unenhanced version, I mean, you could have bought these for $200 late May. I'm sure some of you guys probably could have got these for even less than 200 bucks. And now you're already up about 30%. So I'm not saying that Journey Together is the best set in the world, but this just goes to show you that in TCG investing, scarcity does play a role in the price of certain items, even if it's not the best set. Obviously, it's multifactorial, but there are times that you can make decent money just based on the scarcity of an item. Another decent set that comes to mind in One Piece actually is like EB01, the Memorial Collection. Really not too much of interest in that set outside the Chopper manga and then some playable cards, but that box is $315, $320 still. It's a decent looking box too. It's pink and everything, so that's kind of another factor. But yeah, that just goes to show you scarcity is important and something you need to consider investing in Pokemon. And then to end the video, Destined Rivals, I don't think that this is going to continue moving up at this point. I think $300, $305, it's probably going to trade around this range until we get reprints. And if we don't get a reprint for a very long time, maybe in like 2 to 3 months, 4 months, it starts to climb back up again. But I would be shocked if this box makes a move up to like 330, 350. That I really just can't see that happening. And to give you guys an idea of what I mean, there are more boxes listed this week below a 20% leg up than last week. And the sell-through rate is down from, I think, like 14 and a half boxes buy it now per day down to like sub 10. It was like 9.5 boxes. We'll obviously keep an eye on it over the next couple weeks. When I looked at the days of remaining inventory, it was still around 45, 50 days, which isn't terrible for a brand new set. But I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that over the next, say, like 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see that sell-through rate continue to come down. And then that number is going to probably get a little bit higher towards like 70, 80 days remaining. So I wouldn't be looking at Destined Rivals to make a move anytime soon. And that was just me blabbering for way too long when I could have said that in 2 sentences. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think about Esfiera. Are you targeting any of these sets right now? The first 4 block maybe? Are you going out on a limb? Maybe Journey Together, Stellar Crown? If you guys got some value out of this content, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Also, if you're shopping eBay TCG Player Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links down below, free and easy to use. I get a small kickback. Great way to support me continuing to make these videos for you guys. With all that said, thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great week. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.